All right, come on in. Thanks for coming through to Healthy Mentality Live. Kick your feet up, grab your water or your protein shake, and join in the conversation. I'm your host, Charles, also known as RMZ. If you haven't already, please take a moment to smash those like and subscribe buttons. And if you're watching on the mobile app, throw some hype my way. All of it helps the channel to grow. Let's get this channel to 5,000 subscribers with the hurry upness. Also, I've partnered with Fridays. And if you're uninsured, underinsured, or branded GLP-1s just aren't in the budget for you, Fridays has you covered. They offer compounded GLP-1 options at accessible prices with no membership fees. And that includes your lab work, unlimited provider visits, nutrition coaching, dietitian support, and live workout programs. They also provide access to TRT for all you men out there and powerhouse supplements like Samoralin and NAD+. They even have a meal delivery service for an additional charge. You can use the link in the description of this video and the code RMZ to get a $150 discount on your first order. A reminder, there are 2 GLP-1 meetups coming up. The first one is in Atlanta on June 27th. Then there's one in Dallas on October 17th. Check the link in the description for details and for your tickets. Also, a big shout out to all the channel members out there, the big Zeppers. I thank you for your continued support always. And if you aren't a member, I still thank you for subscribing, liking, commenting, and showing up here each Tuesday night to be a part of this community. Now, before we begin, a quick disclaimer. I am not a healthcare professional. I didn't even stay at a Holiday Inn last night. None of my guests are healthcare professionals. And even if they were, they are not your healthcare professional. Nothing shared here is medical advice. We're simply sharing our own personal experiences and perspectives. Please consult your healthcare team before making any changes to your treatment or your routine. Now, at the end of the show, we'll have a live Q&A, and if you have a question, drop it in the comments at any point and start it with 3Qs so I can filter and easily find it. And if you're a man looking to come on and tell your story, email me at roundmoundzep@gmail.com. You can see it on the screen here. It's also going to be scrolling across the bottom of the screen in the ticker. With that said, please join me in welcoming tonight's guest. Julio, welcome in, sir. Thank you for joining me tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate you taking the time out of your day to come on and tell your story. Can you introduce the people to yourself?
Sure. My name's Julio. I'm 52 years old. I was born in Puerto Rico, moved to Orlando. My parents moved us to Orlando when I was 10 years old, and I've been here ever since. I've been married to my beautiful wife for 20 years. We have a beautiful 30-year-old stepdaughter, my stepdaughter, my wife's daughter, and a 19-year-old son, and a beautiful about 7-month old baby granddaughter.
Oh,
And
nice.
that's me. Yep.
Nice. How does it feel being a grandfather?
Oh, it's amazing.
Isn't it?
It's amazing, man. Oh gosh,
Isn't it?
it's great.
All right. So I recently came across your channel probably about a month ago. You came up my feed. I think you started telling your story in week 13. So I asked you to come on, and you were gracious enough to say yes. And I was looking through some of your past videos, and you talk about your struggle throughout life. Obesity is something that you struggle with pretty much your entire life. Even going back to Pop Warner, you're another guy that I've had on that has talked about struggling to weigh in for Pop Warner to make weight. My guest last week told the same story. Can you break that down for me?
Yeah, yeah. I was listening to him, and I was getting the flashbacks when I was listening to his story. And I'll take mine even a little bit farther back than that. My first really bad experience with feeling ashamed and overweight and all the things that go with that was in sixth grade. When I came here from Puerto Rico, I was in sixth grade, and we had back then, some of us older people remember that, more mature people, I like to say not older, but more mature, when they would bring all the kids into the gym, into the locker room, make us take our shirts off, bend over
Yeah,
at the waist, and do the scoliosis test.
yeah,
And I remember that vividly, like it was yesterday, because the kids would stand around and wait for my turn because I was the kid with the rolls, and they wanted to point and laugh. So that was my first experience, and that got me thinking I want to do sports. I want to do something physical so I don't have to deal with this anymore, which is why I begged my parents to put me in Pop Warner. My parents were vehemently against it
yeah,
because my mom was one of those like, no, you're gonna get injured, you're gonna get paralyzed, and the whole thing. So I basically had to beg my parents to put me in uh, in football, and I thought I was fixing my problem.
yeah,
And I went to all the practices, and everything was great, loving it, putting on the pads, the helmet, the heat. I'm like, this is it. I'm gonna become an athlete. And first game, to my surprise, at that age you just don't know.
yeah,
And all of a sudden, they bring us on to the bathroom and start, asking to, get ready to get weighed in. Which I was like, what is this? And lo and behold, the first 6 games of the season, which Pop Warner was like 8 games,
yeah,
I wasn't able to play. I had to sit in the sidelines because I didn't make weight. And every week it would go up 2 pounds.
yeah.
So I wasn't trying to lose weight. I was just waiting for the weight to meet me, and uh, that's how it all started.
How did that experience as young Julio shape you as you grew older and went through life?
Sure, I mean that's really what kickstarted the obsession with wanting to lose weight. I have to do something. I've got to change my life. At such a young age, and I say I remember because I'm 52. There's very little things I remember about middle school and even some high school. But these moments in life become like a still photo, like
Yeah.
I can't get them out of my head. And that's how it's been my whole life. And of course, that snowballed. So it was then going into high school after that.
Yeah.
And in high school, I did wrestling, weightlifting, and football. Still chasing that, trying to get in shape, stay in shape. But it was the obsessive um, working out. The craziness, the putting on the garbage bag in a Florida. I'm in Orlando.
Yeah.
Florida heat is something serious, and
Yeah.
I'm out there on the track trying to lose 10 pounds of sweat, for a wrestling, tournament or something. So it was crazy.
Yeah. And I understand you even enlisted in the Marines and it followed you there through boot camp and through your 8 years in service, right?
That's right. I actually first, right out of high school, I went to the police academy and
Okay.
became a police officer. It took me a couple years to get a job, but I was 21 years old when when I became a police officer. And the academy was, challenging as well. And then, I was always a little bit heavier than I should have been. And at times, I mean, that's when I was in good shape, still a little bit heavier.
Yeah.
And then when I signed up for the Marine Corps, my first year as a cop, I'm like, I need to go and do the military. I always want to do the military. My dad, my grandfather, my brother, all military men. So I was like, man, I don't want to miss out on this. Of course, I wanted to up them, so I joined the
Yeah.
Marine Corps. They were Air Force, Navy, Army. So I joined the Marine Corps, and of course, the weight was right off the bat. When I went to, we call it MAPS, military acceptance, where they deport you when they
Yeah.
take you to boot camp from here in Tampa, and I literally was taken by my recruiter, and I did not make weight by 5 pounds.
Mm.
So he had to drive me back, which recruiters do not like that. I was
Yeah.
getting chewed out the entire way back for 2 hours from Tampa to Orlando, and then he had to schedule me to leave on a different job because I lost that job because I didn't make the weight.
Yeah.
And then it was like a month later, I left to boot camp, and lo and behold, I get to boot camp, and mind you, I'm 206 right now, which I'm feeling fantastic. I was 185 when I went to boot camp,
Yeah.
same height. I'm a whopping 5'6", right? So at 185, I felt great. The Marine Corps calls you a fat body
Yeah.
and puts you in that category. They paint two stripes on your shirt to let every drill instructor know that this is a fat body that needs more working out and less food. And that's how my boot camp went. I mean, it was being berated, come here, fat body. And also they threaten you to put you in what's called, it's actually, the proper term is uh, physical rehabilitation or conditioning platoon, PCP,
Yeah.
but they call it pork chop platoon. So the entire time that I'm boot camp, drill instructors, you're going to pork chop platoon, fat body, you better keep running. And that's the way the 3 months of boot camp went for me.
So did you have the whole experience of the drill sergeant in your face, yelling and cussing at you, calling you fat body and all of that
Oh yeah,
in
yeah,
front of
because
everyone?
they use the tactics, to make you feel, belittle you and break you down,
Yeah.
and that's the way they talk to me. And mind you, I was a police officer already,
Yeah.
so I went from taking people, grown men, to jail, and I was only 21 years old, but I was a police officer here, and I'm going from that to boot camp to getting yelled at by somebody who's about my age
Yeah.
and being called fat. And it was tough. It was tough. It was very, very tough.
Yeah.
And it gets to you.
Yeah.
And just to add to that, the biggest shame that I have coming out of the Marine Corps, which I'm in the process of I'm going to try to change some things, and I'll let you know about it. But I spent 8 years in the Marine Corps, and I went in. When you go in as enlisted, you go in the at the rank of private, and then you get your little promotions, to PFC, private first class, and
Yeah.
lance corporal. Those are the first two promotions that most Marines get pretty quickly. So I made it to Lance Corporal by my first month of being in the Marine Corps. Well, I never made weight again.
Mm.
So I was not up to Marine Corps weight standards, height and weight standards from the get. So eventually, in just a couple of years, I was demoted back to PFC.
Wow.
And I was written up. I was in the reserves here in Orlando, so I wasn't active duty, but every month I had to go to drill. And every month I went to drill, I had to run. Only the fat bodies had to run,
Yeah.
not everybody. And also, and got berated there the whole time that I was in. It's sad because, of course, I took it. I took it like a
Yeah.
man. You don't think twice about it at the moment. I only made it to. I never made it to Marine Corps ball. I got to wear that beautiful dress blue uniform
Yeah.
one time, and the second time I went to wear it, I asked my mom at the time. I said, "Hey, can you take off the stitching in the back? See if I can expand it a little bit so I can fit in it." And she did that. And I've always wanted to go to Marine Corps ball in my dress blues uniform, and that's something that I'm going to do this year. I'm
That's
going to do
awesome.
it just because, yeah. So I actually took my dress blues to a tailor shop yesterday, and the lady's like, "I can fix it for $75. I'm going to fix it." I'm like, I would pay $500 for that,
Yeah.
just to have my dress blues back again. So I'm excited. I talked to my wife. I said, "You're not embarrassed to go with a PFC to Marine Corps ball, right? 52-year-old PFC." She's like, "No, let's go."
That's awesome.
So yeah,
My and my brother-in-law is retiring from the Marines this year, September. So I think we're trying to fly out to Virginia for his ceremony. So
that's
looking forward to
awesome,
that.
man.
So I know a
I
little bit
actually,
about that culture. So yeah.
yeah. I actually just went to North Carolina for the retirement of one of the guys that was in boot camp with me,
Oh,
and I made a
nice.
video of it. One of my videos on YouTube is me going to North Carolina for his retirement, and I made a video about the eating on the road, driving on the road and eating, which is always a challenge for us. So you know,
Yeah. No, so you were reserved. So I'm assuming that you were still on the police force at the same time all this is going on.
correct,
So
correct.
you also talked about your experience with the SWAT team and being put on SWAT team and taken off the SWAT team because you weren't hitting the weight standards there as well. How did all that play into? Because you seem like you have all this going on, since you're in the sixth grade, trying to hit these weight metrics and whatnot.
Every time. So I was pretty fortunate since high school. I was pretty strong. So my strength has always been something that I've had. And because of that, it was kind of funny. I was the strongest guy on the SWAT team. So I was the ram guy, the
Yeah,
first guy in the door. Well, when I would get out of shape, I couldn't pass the physical agility test, so I would be taken off the team, but I would be asked to still do the entries
yeah,
because they still needed me to break the door down. So, it was that weird dynamic, that I had to deal with. And I know your last guest was also in law enforcement, and he was
yeah,
talking about the uniform. That's such a that that brought back a lot of memories because that was such a big deal. The gun belt is not something that you can just grab off the shelf
yeah.
easily, so every time I gained weight, I mean, I literally had three gun belts in my closet because
Wow,
I would be yo-yoing so much that uniform was just, fluctuating all the time. It was crazy.
wow. So over your journey, you've tried. Sounds like you tried everything. A keto diet, carnivore diet, Atkins. You were in Overeaters Anonymous. How did all of that affect you? I think you even did Weight Watchers as well, right? Yeah,
Weight Watchers as well. Yeah. Jenny Craig,
yeah,
the punchline diet, Jenny
yeah,
Craig, that was the
yeah,
punchline diet for many years. Yeah, I mean, I've tried it all, and I did Overeaters Anonymous for 4 years, and I didn't even know that existed until I had a family member that was in AA, and I would take him to his AA meetings, and I would sit at the AA meetings going, "Man, this sounds a lot like me." And that's when I started researching and found out about OA, started going to Overeaters Anonymous, and great community, loved it, learned so much from it. But even within that, the food noise always won, always wins.
Yeah.
I was like, it doesn't matter what I did, I could white knuckle it for only so long, and that was a pretty long time that I was pretty good. It was
Yeah.
a pretty good 4 year stretch, but you know.
So you eventually got up to 285, I think it was, right? Is that also was that compounded by, I think you had back surgery at some point during that time. So did the back surgery lead to more weight gain to get you up to that 285, or was the back surgery after?
No, the back surgery was after. I actually
Okay.
hit 285 twice. So I hit 285 in 2016 and 2022. And my back surgery, I believe, was 2023. It was right
Okay.
around that time.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, I was pretty close, probably like around one or not one, 260, 270 when I had my back, when I pulled my back, finally herniated the L4-5 and the S1.
Hmm.
And I just, at that point, I was like, I couldn't feel my entire right leg. I couldn't stand on my tippy toes, that day. It was like a rash decision in a sense, because I went to the hospital, my wife took me to the hospital, and the doctors are like, you want to have back surgery.
Yeah.
And, when you're in so much pain, you can't feel your leg, you're like, let's
Yeah.
do it,
Yeah. Yeah. Now I know, 285 is your high weight. So there may be somebody out there watching saying that's not a lot of weight. But I want to put that into perspective for someone out there. My high weight was 358. I'm 6'2". You're
Right,
5'6",
right.
285. So different heights, different weights, but we equal the same exact BMI, 46.
Yep.
So that is a lot of weight when you consider your size and whatnot and carrying that around. So, you talked about being bedridden because of your weight and um, just low energy, not wanting to do anything, binge eating, spending a lot of money on fast food and all of that. And then you tried carnivore in I think 2023 and you lost 75 pounds. So you start seeing success. You got down to 210, I think it was, somewhere around there.
Right around. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And how did that go? How did you white knuckle through the carnivore diet to get down to 210?
Sure. So it was December of 2022 when I had the meeting with my wife. It's always a sit down with the wife, like something's got to change,
Yeah.
something's got to give. And I said, I don't want to go to Mexico to have bariatric surgery. I'm afraid of that. So I'm going to do it at the local hospital.
Yeah.
And I contacted the hospital. It was $15,000 to get bariatric surgery at
Wow.
Florida Hospital here in Orlando. So, and I've got the email still. I keep it like a little trophy, I guess, in a
Yeah.
sense. But I talked to the wife, and we committed that $15,000 because I mean, look, like you said, at 5'6", 285, yeah, it may not sound like a lot. Just to put in perspective, 52 waist.
Yeah.
I couldn't reach myself around myself
Yeah.
I don't have the flexibility or anything to, even use the restroom. I couldn't tie my shoes. I bought shoes without the shoelaces, so I could just slip my feet in. I couldn't walk 10 feet, 15 feet without being out of breath.
Yeah.
I've got a video that I film myself, and I'm just in the video. I can barely breathe, just even talking. So it was pretty bad. And
Yeah.
my nights, I would go to sleep at night feeling, often I would vomit in my sleep at night. And there were times, my wife couldn't sleep with me anymore because I snored so bad she couldn't get any sleep. So I would sleep with my son, and man, I would have dark thoughts, in my sleep,
Yeah.
and in bed at night. It was pretty bad. So we committed to the bariatric surgery. And one of my jiu-jitsu coaches reaches out to me and says, "Hey, I'm doing this carnivore thing. Give it a shot." I'm like, okay, one more try. And I told myself, if I start gaining just 10 pounds back from any diet that I do, I'm having the surgery.
Yeah.
So that was my commitment. And at first, removing all the carbohydrates, just like the Atkins, just like the South Beach diet, just like, keto. I had done those before, but here I was trying to really be completely just a steak. I was pretty much eating just a steak a day with a couple of
Yeah.
eggs. That was it. And so the first like 3, 4 months, my food noise subsided. I didn't know what food noise was, and I didn't know. I just knew I wasn't craving the
Yeah.
cake as much anymore. But around month 3 or 4, I started thinking, am I really going to do this for the rest of my life? How about my birthday? How about vacations? That the food noise starting to negotiate with me.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? What are you going to do? And then, I'm telling my wife, I'm like, well, you know what? Let's do it this way. For vacations and for birthdays, celebrations, we'll get off the diet and then we'll get back on it. And so that's how, it started back up. It was right around July. My dad actually passed away in July of that year, 2023. And it was at his funeral where I bought pastries to give to
Yeah.
people, but really I was buying them for myself.
Yeah.
And that's where it all started again. And slowly but surely, until October of 2025, I gained the weight back from 210 to 247.
Wow. Yeah. Sorry about the loss of your father. I know that it adds some additional stress and wanting to eat and to comfort yourself because of that as well.
For
Um,
sure.
so you get what other health conditions did you have? Sounds like you had sleep apnea. Was there anything else that you were dealing with health wise?
Sleep apnea, since for the last like 20 years, basically since like 2006, I've had the CPAP, of course, on and off. I've used it. I haven't been the greatest at using it. And gout, suffer from gout
Mm,
attacks every 6 to 8 months. Pretty bad gout attack. But that's been about the extent of it. Headaches, a lot of headaches. Like I said, not nausea, being nauseous all the
yeah.
time from overeating, vomiting, stuff like that. But nothing else as far as medical. Just the back surgery, gout, and sleep apnea are the three
So
major ones.
so no hypertension or pre-diabetes. That's good. That's good.
No, never diagnosed with it. I mean, I had my left ankle was routinely swelling.
Yeah.
And that's a sign, from what I understand from the doctor, a sign of insulin resistance.
Yeah.
So that and getting the skin tags. I had a skin tag on my neck, another one on my stomach that I removed or had removed. So those were the signs that something metabolically, was going wrong.
Yeah. So you rebound from 210 to 247, and I think it was Halloween weekend. You came to a decision point, and you were just like, "This is it." Can you tell us about that moment?
Yeah, Halloween 2025 was a Friday, and my wife ordered, we invited friends and family, driveway, gave out candy to the kids. We all dress up. We like to do that every year. And she bought pizza, and of course, it was all the candy. And I was at another level of food noise. I mean,
Yeah.
my brain was just, I didn't even want to be outside with anybody. I actually went, I said, I want to change. I came upstairs, changed, went to the kitchen with the pizza and away from everybody. I didn't want to binge in front of anybody. So I couldn't even wait for them to leave, which is typically what I would do. Binged a Halloween day. Next morning, wake up with the regrets. By noon, I'm binging again on pizza. Same thing on Sunday, hiding from everybody. I didn't want anybody to see it. Sunday night, sitting on the couch, my wife turns off the TV, turns to me and says, "What's wrong?" And that was like, it hit me. It's like she can, I can't hide this.
Yeah.
The pain was so extreme, it went right through and she could see it. And I said to her, I said, I'm suffering. Like I can't take this anymore. So I got to see the doctor. And I wasn't even thinking about weight loss medications or anything like that. Up to that point, I hadn't even considered it.
Yeah.
But I just knew I had to go to the doctor and do something. So I went to the doctor to make an appointment Monday morning, November 3rd, 2025. And, typically the doctors, oh, next week or next month. I mean, they're usually pretty busy. I was lucky that day. It's just that kind of luck where the receptionist said, how about 10:15? I was there at 9:50. She said, how about 10:15? I remember like it was yesterday. And I went
Yeah.
in and I sat down. It's
That's
like one
crazy.
of
You
those
get it on
moments.
a Monday, same
Yeah,
day
yeah,
appointment
exactly.
at doctor's office. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah, it is. I couldn't believe it, but it was such an excitement. I walk in his office and I sit down, and it was the funniest thing. I mean, I've been going to this doctor for 2 years. He's phenomenal, and but for 2 years I've been preaching to him how I was doing great on the carnivore diet.
Yeah.
So he had never mentioned anything to me about dieting or anything like that. He's just like, all right, you're good. I'm good. Well, I start to tell him in tears. I'm crying. I'm like, this and this. And he's like, stop. And he just walks out of the room. And I'm like, what the heck? He comes back in. He went to the refrigerator, came back with a sample box of Mounjaro. And he pulls the pen out. And he shows me how to use it. He goes, go home, start using it. Let me know how you feel.
No, at that
That
point,
was
did you
it.
know? At that point, did you know anything about Mounjaro or GLP-1s or anything outside of maybe heard
So
about Ozempic or something? Or
So here's something pretty funny that I've been meaning to mention on my YouTube channel, and I haven't yet, which is actually a pretty big deal too.
Mm,
So when I was a kid, I always loved acting or watching acting, and I was
yeah,
like, I would love to do that someday. And my mom used to always say to me, "You're too short and you're too big." And I'm Danny DeVito. Danny DeVito's short and he's big, and it's like, come on, there's roles for us out there. So actually, when I turned 33, when I was 33 years old, I pursued it, and I started booking commercials.
yeah,
So from 33 into my 40s, I was doing commercials, and crazy enough, right? One of my last commercials that I did, once again, same as everything else, in and out.
yeah,
Whenever I gain weight, I would lose confidence. I'm like calling my agent. I'm like, I'm out. I'm not gonna do any more auditions. I'm not doing this again. And then I lose the weight, and I call her, hey, I'm back in. I'm back in. Send me auditions. And the last one that I did was for a pharmaceutical drug, and I was a patient, and that was in 2015.
mm,
And when I got this box, and I went home and started learning about it, I went and researched it, and it was a GLP-1.
oh, nice, nice.
Yeah,
Was that
Tansium. Tansium was the drug.
okay?
Yeah,
Okay.
Tansium was the drug. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. You
So,
so you get this box of Manjaro. He shows you how to inject it. Did he give you any education about how the medication worked and what to expect or anything like that?
all that I remember is him saying it was a female who found it, who
Yeah,
figured it out.
yeah,
He's like, yeah, it was this female in New York that figured it out. That's all I remember. I mean,
yeah,
he gave me a lot of information. It was just like, imagine, right? I was like, oh my God, like, this is about to happen. Like, I'm about to get something that's possibly going to help me.
yeah,
That's what I was thinking in the moment. And one more thing that I do want to point out, on the way there, I was thinking, even with all that, feeling horrible about my weight and desperate, and I was still thinking about binging one more time.
yeah,
Going to my favorite joint, Crystals, is like a White
yeah,
Castle, and
yeah,
I just want. I was kept thinking that even in his office, I was thinking that. So maybe that had something to do with the fact why I didn't hear too much of what he was
yeah.
saying, but he explained a lot. I just didn't catch too much of it.
Had to get that one last hit in, huh?
What? That's right. That's right. That's
So
right.
did you rush home after I'm assuming you skipped crystals? Did you rush home
I did.
and inject that day? Did you put it in the refrigerator and think about it a little bit, or what was your thought
No,
process?
man. I was excited. I was excited. I had tried like I don't know, 10 years ago, I had tried, it was called Transformations.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what I was injecting, but I was injecting something back then, which, suppressed my appetite for 2 seconds and then it was back,
Yeah.
back on. I only did that for a few weeks. But so I wasn't afraid of needles. I was willing to inject. I didn't, I wasn't afraid of that. And I didn't care about the side effects or anything. Honestly, I was so desperate. I was like, the only thing that I waited for was to eat. I was
Yeah.
like, probably shouldn't be taking this on an empty stomach, so I better eat really good before I
Yeah.
try it. So I ate lunch and then I injected myself right then and there, man,
And how soon did you feel the effects working?
within 2 hours.
2 hours.
And it was honestly, it was the weirdest feeling situation that I've ever experienced because I didn't know what was happening. It was one of those moments where, you know, up to that point, I had never heard of food noise, never
Yeah.
heard of that term, which is weird. I've been in this, obesity world for so long and I had never heard of that. So I injected myself, and within like 2 hours, I would say like 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I feel like, and the best way I can describe it is like turning the radio off. Like sometimes, when somebody's playing music and you don't like the music,
Yeah.
and you're just like, man, can somebody turn that off? And then finally somebody turns it off, and it's like a relief. I felt that relief. I felt like a sense of peace, quiet. It was the weirdest thing, and that's when I became obsessed with trying to find out what the heck just happened.
Yeah, exactly. And that's such a great description, turning the radio off. That's because that's exactly what I can recount. And I can't, my body has adapted to it. I've been on it so long. I still have the food noise suppression, so it's not as loud, but I can't recreate that moment of when I did my first injection, and then for the
Mm.
first 6 or 7 months, I just had no food noise. Did not think about anything sweet or sugary or anything of that nature. It just wasn't a thought to me. I would just keep moving. It wasn't even a consideration or temptation. So I know exactly what you're talking about. I'm sure a lot of people in the chat do as well. So it started working for you within 2 hours. And
Yep.
um, how did the rest of that first week go for you?
Um, you know, I, I had a little bit of side effects. I always kind of I hold back from talking about side effects just because the side effects of being obese, having obesity, were so severe. And for 52 years, no one has ever, in my entire life, said, "Hey, how are your side effects from being
Yeah.
100 pounds overweight?" No one's ever said that to me.
Yeah.
But the minute I started taking this medication, everybody came out of the woodworks. Oh man, how about the side effects and what's going to happen? And people are vomiting and stuff like that. I vomit all the time. What are you talking about? Seriously, like, I've been popping Prilosec for years. I
Yeah.
forgot to talk about that. Yeah, for that
That's a
pain,
reflex. Yeah.
in your chest, acid reflux. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, did I have those symptoms? I did. I had that knot in my chest, on my stomach, in the pit right there. And when I was eating the first, few meals that I ate very little. I couldn't stomach, more than maybe like 800 calories the first few days, which I welcome because it was such a refreshing feeling of
Yeah.
not wanting to pig out. So, but it really very quickly I adjusted. I did 5 weeks at 2.5, and then because I had a family member that said I lost the most weight at five milligrams. So I'm
Yeah.
like, woo, let's go 5 milligrams, right? So at week 5, even though I had 3 boxes of Mounjaro, my doctor gave me, I think it was a total of 3 or 4 boxes.
Wow.
He said, come back and get some more because Walgreens was $1,300 for the pens at
Yeah.
the time
Yeah.
in
Yes.
November, just
So and
November. So
so you didn't have coverage.
No, no,
No.
I got
Yeah.
denied immediately. Yeah,
Yeah.
I got denied immediately. I tried all those stuff. I went back. People were giving me the advice, like, no, man, go back. You got to fight it. You got to call them. You got to do this. I did all that, and they just kept saying, no, 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 and it's not going to happen. So,
Yeah. Well, shout out to your doctor for looking out for you and giving you 3 boxes for free.
yeah, yeah,
Even
that
on
was
a,
great. And
yeah.
that's when my sister jumped in on the bandwagon because
Yeah.
she thought it was a rich man's, medicine. She knew more about it than I did. She had done Ozempic years ago. I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
That's another thing that blew my mind. How many people, when I started talking about it, everybody I knew had been on this
Yeah.
medication.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
It was crazy. I'm like, my niece and this and my sister and it's like all these people. I'm like, are you serious? No one had ever mentioned it to me. No one had
Yeah.
mentioned it to me.
Yeah. I think everyone has this thing that they want to keep it quiet because of the judgment about it. They hear all the chatter online. You have people like I was watching a video the other day. What I think it was Jillian Michaels and Dr. Drew just bashing Ozempic and all of that. And
Yeah,
so they hear conversations like that. So people just want to hide it and um, they don't want to go through the accusations of cheating or you're still in my diabetic medication and things like that. So I kind of understand that. But uh, channels like this exist to normalize it. Channels like yours exist to normalize this discussion. Um, so if you're not following Julio, make sure you do. His channel is linked in the description of this video. Let's get his YouTube follow count up. So you did 5 weeks at 2.5, and then you jumped up to 5, right?
right.
And and did you notice any difference between 2.5 and 5?
So I was gonna wait. I was going on vacation, right? I started November 3rd, so I started during the
The holiday
craziest
season,
time
yeah.
of the year, right? The holiday season, right before Thanksgiving, right after Halloween. So we were going on vacation in Puerto Rico, December 30th through the 8th, and that's when I was gonna change. I was gonna finish my box, right? I was gonna finish my box number two because I had just taken the first pen, and my wife's like, we're not gonna be on vacation. You're gonna be sick the whole time. Like that's not gonna happen because we didn't know what would
Yeah.
happen when I would go to 5 milligrams. So she was like, no. So I said, you know what? Then I'll do it now. So I have 3 weeks before vacation to get adjusted to it, or
Yeah.
get sick or whatever's gonna happen. So I felt the same thing as when I hit my first week of 2.5. I felt that, that suppression. I went back because I had already built up to about 1,800 calories. And then I went right back down to like
Yeah.
900 calories, barely being able to get that in. So that's how it was for the first couple of weeks, a couple of headaches. Um, and that was about it as far as side effects. Once again, the overwhelming great feeling, you know, made me not really even think about the side effects or anything like that. Even when I felt tired, I'm like, I'll just take a nap. I've been taking naps in the afternoons for
Yeah.
decades now. So that wasn't such a big deal for me.
Nice. So, and you've been on 5 ever since, right? You haven't gone above that, if I remember correctly.
Right. So when I went to Puerto Rico, yeah, when I went to Puerto Rico was the December 30th. That's when I'm sure you're familiar with Waitlist, the book from Dr. Rocio Salas Whalen.
Yeah.
That came out December 30th. And so I bought the audiobook because I was going to be with the family traveling. So on the plane, on the drive to the hotel or to the Airbnb, the entire time I got my AirPods in listening to it. And that's when I learned from her book that people can do it on 2.5,
Yeah.
that I didn't need to go to 5. So
Yeah.
that's when I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna, I started figuring it out. I'm like, oh, okay, I don't need to go up. I don't need to, I can kind of just wait and see what happens, see how I feel. So that's not the way I've treated it the whole way. I have these, like, three things that I look for. And number one is the food noise. But how I'm feeling medically, of
Yeah.
course, is going to be one of the things. And that's that's how I've been treating it the entire time. And so far, it's been I'm averaging about 1.6 pounds, 1.5, 1.6 pounds a week losing, which is where I want to be, the sweet spot for me. I'm trying to keep as much muscle as possible. It's another thing that everybody wants to tell me. Oh, you're gonna lose all your muscle. You better
Yeah.
go to Retta. That's a big thing with the gym bros. Like
Yeah.
uh, this is not gonna happen. So I wanna try to keep as much muscle. So I'm trying not to do the rapid weight loss. I'm tempted because that's the way I've always done weight loss,
Yeah.
right? And especially now that this past couple 2 3 weeks, really tempted because I'm so close to 199, which has been a dream of mine. The Wonderland
Yeah.
for so long, and so many times I've been trying to get close to it, and I'm so close now at 206. So a part of me is like, I'm just gonna jump in a garbage bag again and start running,
And
until I'm 199.
you're at a great clip though. 1.6. You're at a great clip of
Yeah,
loss, and
no, it's
and
good.
you're in the gym, right? So I mean, you're lifting weights as well. You're doing
Yep,
jujitsu, I think daily,
yep,
pretty much. So I mean, yeah, you'll get there in no time. You'll get there in no time. Yeah,
yeah,
and I
yep,
was just thinking about the book Weightless. You are a consumer of information. I know you did the whole YouTube University like I did.
yes,
You read the Weightless or had the audiobook of Weightless, and you also mentioned in the video that you even read Oprah's book Enough that
that's
give you
right.
some inspiration. So you're getting all the information you can. I love that. I love that.
Yeah, that's what I listen to at the gym. When I work
Yeah,
out, I got Enough or Weightless. I go back and forth on both books, and of course YouTube channels.
yeah,
And when I saw your channel, and you almost, because of you, I almost didn't go to YouTube
yeah.
because I watched your channel and I'm like, I don't have a cool voice like he's got. I don't think I can do this. You got that cool radio voice. I'm like, man, he sounds really good. I don't think I can do this. It was
You're
close. It was
doing
close.
it.
I almost didn't do it.
You're doing it. You're doing it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Um, so you had some great non-scale victories as of late as well. You recently went up to I think purple belt, right, in
That's
jiu-jitsu
correct.
after being
That's
stuck
correct.
for five and a half years, right?
5.5 years on blue belt,
Yeah,
which is typically about a 2 year, 2 years on blue belts, the typical. But once again, gain weight. When I go past 245, I can't do physical activity anymore.
yeah,
So that's about the highest weight that I've gone. And of course, I'm like at the biggest. I got to go up in uniform. The gi that we wear at jiu-jitsu, and yeah, I struggled with it for 5.5 years, and in November I started back up, going more consistently because I just was feeling so good so fast. And my coaches recognized. Of course, it's a big joke in the gym. I when I walk by one of the little pillars in the gym, they're like, "Where did Julio go?" You know, it's a big joke. But I enjoy it. I enjoy the banter. Everybody's been really supportive. I love
yeah.
the jujitsu, so it's good stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome. What? Congratulations on moving up. What other
Thank
non-scale
you.
victories have you been experiencing on this journey?
Um, one that's pretty interesting. Since I was a kid, well, since I was like 16 years old, I always had this dream of buying a Jeep CJ. We're a big Jeep family. My wife has a Jeep Sahara, and I've had uh, six Jeeps myself, or five Jeeps myself.
Mm,
And finally, a couple of years ago, I bought my dream Jeep, which is the CJ7. And it's one of those with no doors, no top, just in the garage. It's the weekend, pavement Jeep. And so when I'm at a 52 waist, I don't want to get into that Jeep.
yeah,
It's high, it's jacked up. I don't want to get in it. I don't feel comfortable. When I'm backing out of the driveway, I go by the cars in the driveway. When I'm backing out of the garage, I'm driving by the cars in the driveway, and I can see my reflection in the mirrors in the windows.
yeah,
And it's one of those things that that's what you live with in your head. It's like I feel like driving it right back in the garage. I don't want to see myself. So to me, that was one of those big, big non-scale victories
yeah,
where I could feel comfortable enough to get into my, dream car and take it for a drive on the weekends and feel like I'm having fun, and I'd be thinking and worrying about people are looking over and whatever, the crazy thoughts that creep into my head. That's one of the big ones.
It's a nice ride. I saw it in your purple belt video. It's
Thank
clean.
you.
Um, but that brings me to uh, another discussion point. This is your dream car, and we talked previously about you not having coverage. So after you run out of the free boxes from your doctor, you had to find ways to get this medication because you want to make sure that you have it, you have access to it. And you talked about moving things around to make sure that you have enough money to pay out of pocket for this medication. And one of those things that you even looked at was selling your dream car. Can you talk about the way you broke everything down about the expenses, how much money you save on not eating out and moving and you know, doing changes on your insurance and considering selling a car? Could you break all that down? The way you told it, I
Sure.
really enjoyed that.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I made the video, and I said you can get this medicine for free. And of course, that raises a lot of eyebrows. But here's the reason why I feel the way I think about it. First and foremost, I put out uh, the point that for me, this medicine supersedes everything in my life. Here's why. I have My entire life suffers when I'm at my worst weight. Not just because of medical reasons, but because of physically. I can't go, with my son, I couldn't go on field trips. My wife and my son and my daughter, we love to go to Disney and, do things with the family. I couldn't do any of that. I couldn't go to Disney with the family and walk around all day. I just couldn't do it. So my entire life suffers whenever I'm at a point where I can barely walk. So I prioritize the medicine over anything else.
Yeah.
With that said, um, immediately I'm like, how can I afford? I knew it was going to be around $400 to $500 a month for the medicine, the vials, which now the pens are about the same price. But at the time they were 1,300, and
Yeah.
the vials were about 400 to 500. So the first thing that I did was I looked at my uh, food bills, my food, my bank statements, and I added up how much I was spending at the McDonald's and the Arby's and all that stuff. And in average, it was about $200 a month on the low end. So right off the bat, I already knew $200 a month that are not going to happen anymore are going to go towards this medication.
Yeah.
And then the second thing that I looked at was that because my wife and I, on our insurance, we could do, most insurance have the two options where you can have a low premium with a high deductible or high premium with a low deductible.
Yeah.
So when for the last 20 years that we've been married, we on the same insurance, we've been pretty healthy, with the exception of the last like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
When I got my back surgery, I paid $8,000 out of pocket for that back surgery. So that was because of our high deductible. So my wife and I decided this is the year 2026. We're going to change the insurance, lower or raise the premium, and lower our deductible because I'm going to keep going to the hospital.
Yeah.
That's what we had decided sometime around the summer, and or hospital visits and whatnot, medical issues. Well, when she did the math, it came out to about $300 more per month for our premium was going to go up for our deductible to go down. So in my head, $300. Once I started the medication, I'm like, well, hold on, let's not change anything because if this medication is as good as it seems it's going to be, well, I felt pretty good about it month one. Then I'm not going to be going to the hospital. I shouldn't be going to the hospital.
Yeah.
Knock on wood. I shouldn't be going to the hospital. So let's just hold off another year and see how it works out. So instead of spending that extra $300 a month on a premium, we're using that $300 that we had already budgeted plus the $200 that were budgeted into my, binge eating every day. That's $500.
Yeah.
So I knew that that was going to cover it. But even if I didn't have that, what I was talking about was the Jeep in the garage is the weekend car, but I got my full time drive truck, and that's a 500 and some dollar a month, 50, $60 a month
Yeah.
payment. And my wife and I sat down another one of those meetings and said, if I have to sell it to afford the medication monthly, I'll sell the truck and we'll just use one car to get back and forth to work. So we were willing to make that commitment and that sacrifice to be able to afford this medication because to me it's more important than a car.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a great perspective. I mean, a lot of people don't calculate in how much they're saving by not eating out, or for a lot of people, it makes them make different choices about the food that they eat as well. So they're not eating the sugary drinks; they're eating more whole foods, hopefully, and getting protein in, so they're fuller longer and not needing a snack, and they don't have the food noise and all of that. So that's a
Right.
great perspective, especially adding in the insurance cost that you're saving there as well, not going to the hospital, not having to increase your premium and all of that. So I think I love that perspective. So someone else is hearing that they can consider those same factors when they're trying to decide if they need this medication, whether they're looking to a compound source or looking at Lilly Direct like you do, or
Right.
what is it, Novo Pharmacy? I forget what they call it, Novo Pharmacy
Novo
or whatever.
Nordisk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a great perspective. All right, so a few more questions for me, and then we'll turn it over to. Oh, we'll do your before and afters, and then turn it over to the audience. So, audience, if you have any questions for Julio, please make sure that they're in the chat with 3 Qs in front of them, so I can easily filter and find it. So, Julio, you start telling your story. I believe it was week 13. It's your first video. What made you make the decision to go online?
So I've always said to myself, if I ever find that, that miracle drug or miracle diet or whatever it is, I'm going to scream it from a rooftop and let the whole world know. And I was actually watching Oprah Winfrey because I didn't just buy the book. I went back to YouTube and watched all her, all those shows that she did on her
Yeah,
GLP-1 journey and all that stuff. And on one of them, at least one of them, she said that she wanted to scream it from a rooftop, and it was like a reminder of how I've always felt. And that was the moment where I was like, you know what? There's no bigger rooftop than YouTube. If I can reach one person, 5 people, 10 people, and help somebody else, because that's to me that's going back to what we were talking about with people feeling like they don't want to share
yeah,
this experience with anybody, and I get it, right? I didn't for a minute. For a minute, I was kind of upset at my closest friends and family, and they know who they are because I
yeah,
let them know. I was like, "What? You've been on this for 2 years, and we go out to dinner at least once a month. You've never said, I was, man, I was really like, come on, man, I'm suffering from this stuff."
yeah,
But I ended up obviously learning more about it and understanding their perspective and all that,
yeah,
and they've gone through some stuff where people have really bashed them and stuff. So, I fully understand. But for me, I'll take the bashing. I actually love to engage in conversation, and I want to engage in conversation with anybody who thinks, who has a gripe against this. I love to talk to them about it because I'm I'm in the belief, man. I'm telling you, like I have deep, deep scars inside my heart from this fighting this my entire life since I was a kid and my whole entire life, and I feel for all of us that have suffered with this disease our entire lives and have beat ourselves up, have beat, whew,
yeah.
and
Feel
have
it,
beat ourselves up
feel it.
for it. And so I, um, I hope you and I and everybody on these channels and everybody who's screaming it from a rooftop can change the perspective of those who don't understand it. And I know it's hard to understand because I didn't understand it myself, and a lot of doctors don't understand it, and a
Yeah.
lot of people don't understand it. So it's going to take some time, um, but I'm going to do my part.
Yeah.
That's why I started the channel.
Appreciate that. Um, and I know a lot of people in the chat feel where you're coming from, because a lot of us have been fighting this battle for years. Some people have been fighting it for their entire life, or like me, I've been fighting it for decades. So people, that definitely resonates with a lot of people in this community. So thank you for sharing that. Um, now you got a family affair going on with this medication. You have your wife, your sister, I think your sister-in-law as well.
My sister, I got my niece. I mean, my niece was already doing it.
Yeah,
But yeah, and then friends. I mean, we got a bunch of friends that are on it.
yeah,
It's crazy. I mean, some people were already on it. Some people are getting on it now. And my sister, my wife, is what I came up with this. It's not a medical term, but I call it type 1 obesity and type 2 obesity.
yeah.
So I call it type 1 obesity what I have, which is I was pretty much born with this. And my sister and my wife were very thin their entire lives until after having children in their 40s. They started dealing with, you know, the gaining weight and not being able to lose it. And so that's yeah, the three of us every Thursday morning, we take our shot, and then they go to work, and I make my shot video.
Nice, nice. So do you
Yeah,
guys compare notes or and cheer each other on?
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. And
yeah,
and that's why when I get one of those questions that anywhere from anybody, it's like, well, you're not a woman. I'm like, I know, but I'm doing this with my sister and my wife, so I know exactly what they're going through
yeah.
because we're doing it together, and I'm going through it. My wife had the constipation, the worst out of the three of us. My sister had the night uh, regurgitation thing because she ate
Hmm.
too late a few nights. But other than that, we've been pretty consistently. All three of us are on 5 milligrams, and we're all consistently losing about a pound and a half. My wife had a plateau for about a month, and now we increased our calories together, and she started losing again.
Yeah, nice. That's great. So last question from me. Um, if there's another man out there watching this video right now who is where you were a year ago, they're at the end of the rope, what would you tell them?
As long as your doctor's okay with it, and you don't have any medical conditions that's going to prevent you from taking this medication, go for it. Go for it. Go for it. The biggest regret that I have, and I think most people have, is not doing it sooner.
Nice. All right, let's check out your before and afters here. I believe there you were 275 here.
275. Yep.
This was 2023, I think it was.
This one was actually 2016.
Oh, 2016.
The one
Okay.
in the one in the garage is 2022.
All right.
Oh, 2023, beginning of 2023.
That's a side
Yeah, this
view.
is 2016. Yeah,
Okay. And
that's
this is,
2022, 2023. Yeah, about 285.
yeah. And look at you now.
That's now.
Yeah, look at that definition.
It's crazy.
Slimmed up. I love it.
It's crazy.
All right, are you ready for some questions from the gallery?
Absolutely. Shoot.
All right. I saw these. This isn't a question, but I saw these comments from Paula that I wanted to share. You shouldn't have to do that, Julio, but I respect it. The medication should be affordable. And I agree 1000% with those sentiments, Paula. It should be affordable for everyone. All right. First question is from Mel, who sends in a super chat. Thank you, Mel. I appreciate you as always. You're a real one. She says, "You're very impressive, Julio. Congrats. Pop Warner is so Florida. I was a PW cheerleader. Do you think you've fully shaken the trauma from Pop Warner PCP experience?"
It's funny. It's a great question because recently, and I posted a video about feeling down. I was feeling down one morning, a couple of weeks ago, and one of those things that we're told our whole lives is don't look at the past, look in the present, look in the future. Leave the past behind you, just move on from it. You'll do better. It's better for you. And when I was feeling down that day, a lot of people on YouTube were incredible and gave me a lot of beautiful words, and it was a great feeling. But one of the biggest things, that's when I went and looked and I found that video from that 2016, my video from 2016 that you just posted, and I looked back. I looked back because I don't want to forget. I don't want to forget where I've come from. I don't want to forget the pain, and it actually helped me. It made me feel better. It made me, sit down and kind of just relax and say, you know what, you've come a long way. You're doing well. You're doing good. Take it easy, and that's from looking back. So I don't want to forget Pop Warner. I don't want to forget the scoliosis test, and so that's kind of how I view it.
Yeah, that's a great answer. We are a collection of our experiences. It makes us who we are, good, bad, or indifference. And some of those things can drive us to higher heights if we let it. So I like that, your perspective on that. Thank you for that question there, Mel. All right, next up, we have a question from Deej, 9859. Are you on a carnivore diet with the shot?
Great question. Thank you. So that's one of those things that I quite often speak about. I call the way I'm eating, not that I call it that. A lot of people refer to it as that, but a 90-10 way of eating. I try not to use the word diet, but the way we eat is our diet. So I do the 90-10 thing. And the reason why I no longer do the carnivore. Carnivore was a very, very restricted diet. I'm not knocking it. It works great for a lot of people, and if it works great for you, I'm all for it. Whatever, we're all different, and whatever works for you is great. For me, it worked to a certain extent, but my dream has always been, when I'm sitting there uh, wishing, if I could wish, for me not to be the way I am, to not have this problem, my thought is always, why can't I be like my friends? Why can't I be like my friends where they work out and they eat healthy, and then when there's a birthday they'll eat pizza and they'll have ice cream and they'll have cake, and then the next day they're right back to eating a salad or chicken and sweet potato and things of that nature. So that's always been my dream. And on this medication, I can eat exactly like that. I eat 90% of the time, which for me, 90% is every meal except two. And a couple of meals a week, I eat. I don't watch to for it to be healthy.
Yeah.
I'll eat wings or I'll eat cake or something like that. So no, I'm not doing the carnivore anymore. But I'm not opposed to it. And if I feel like at some point I want to cut out carbohydrates for a little bit and kind of shock the body and the system, I'm willing to do that.
Yeah.
I haven't had to yet.
All right, thank you for that question, Deej. Next up, we have a question from Travis. How have you noticed overall health change since November? Do you work real close with your doctor?
I've had two telecalls with him, and I wanted to wait till my 6 month point to go and get my labs done again. So, and that's coming up now this month. So I'm getting ready to do my labs. I haven't done them yet. Um, but just talking to him, I mean, it's just been, I feel 10 times better. So, as far as that goes, other than not getting my labs done, but I haven't had anything, health wise, any scares or anything like that. So far it's good.
Nice. Thank you. Thank you for that question, Travis. Another question from Deej. What was your thought? How did you feel when you really knew the medicine was working for you?
It was the most incredible experience of my entire life. And I mean, that moment when the food noise turned off, for me, that's like, that's where it all starts. I hear a lot of people, not here, I see a lot of chatter on blogs of people saying, "Oh, I'm going on vacation. I'm going to on a cruise in 2 weeks. I think I'm going to stop taking the medicine now so I can enjoy the cruise, and then I'll start taking it again when I come back from the cruise." I look at it completely different than that. I'm the
Yeah.
total opposite. I want I want the most appetite suppression and food noise cancellation when I'm on vacations and when I am in the weekends, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That's why I take the injection on Thursday. I started on a Monday. November 3rd was a Monday. And I took it that day just because I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
I couldn't wait to do it. But slowly, what I did is I moved it one day at a time every week until I got to Thursday. And I take it on Thursday because Friday, at the time, I felt the most suppression on Friday, on the next day. So that's why I did it so that my Friday, Saturdays, and Sundays, which were my biggest binge days, is when I would feel the most suppression. That's the way I was thinking then, and now it feels pretty much straight the same. I don't feel more suppression on the first or second day than I do on the last day. Like on Wednesdays, the day before I doing the shot, I'm feeling the same as I felt the day after the shot or the day of the shot. So it doesn't
Yeah.
change anymore for me.
That's a great perspective because I know it's inevitable that every November and December there's going to be some discussions about people skipping their shot for Thanksgiving and all of that. So I
Yeah,
love that perspective. I always say take the shot. That's my
yeah.
my feeling as well. All right. Next up is from Kev. Kev wants to know. He says, Julio, we appreciate your transparency tonight. Which medicine did you begin your journey with?
So I got the free box of from my doctor of Mounjaro, 2.5 milligrams, and I used that box, those free boxes or that free box and the next one for 5 weeks, and then it was Zepbound, the vials. So I get the vials, Zepbound, and I take 5 milligrams still.
All right. Thank you for that, Kevin Quest. Next up, we have King Darium. Julio, I love how you named your channel. Can you tell the viewers how you chose the moniker Riding the Tide?
Thank you, and thank you very much for your support. And I'm jealous that you got a song and I didn't get a song, but I'm not gonna say anything more about it. Yeah, so riding the tide. Um, Actually, I was in Jiu Jitsu, and one of the guys that I roll with, funny guy, Alec. If you ever see this, you're hilarious. He kept saying, "He's on the tide. He's on the tide." He kept saying that. So I just kind of stayed in my head. He's on the tide, and I'm a licensed helicopter pilot. I don't fly anymore, but from many years ago. And so on planes and helicopters, you're more efficient when you're flying with the wind in the same direction as the wind. And similarly with boats, ships, when they're on the current or the tide, they're more efficient if they're going with the tide. So for me, riding the tide, the definition, if you Google it, is going with the flow, basically.
Yeah.
So I felt like my entire life I've been white knuckling, fighting against the current, fighting against this disease, fighting against my body. Every time that I try to eat less, I was fighting. It was a fight. And I take this medication, and that completely disappears. And now I'm going in the same direction. I'm going with the tide. I'm going with the same flow, with the air. It's efficient. It's easy. People say, "Are you taking the easy way with this medication?" And a lot of us say, "No, it's not easy. We work hard and all that." I say, "Yeah, it is super easy. It's so much easier than fighting against this disease. It's a lot easier, and I
Yeah.
love it. It doesn't mean that I'm not doing anything. I'm going to the gym every day, but it's a lot easier not fighting against the current." So, yes, thank you for bringing that up. It's going with the flow, and of course tide, and I put the little dash on tide because that's the end of, it means the end of a word, peptide. So riding the peptide, riding the tide, and going with the flow. That's the meaning of it.
Double entendre.
Double
Riding,
entendre.
riding the tirzepatide.
That's it.
That's a good question there, Darian. I didn't know that information before. Thanks for breaking that down, Julio. All right, got a question from
Sure.
Paula. Paula wants to know, will you be on this medication? I'm assuming it's for life, is what she's asking, I'm assuming.
That's a great question, and I'm prepared for it. I've prepared myself. I believe that I'm one of those individuals. Like I said, I call myself a type one obesity. That I was born this way. I've always struggled with it since I was a kid. I was born a 10-plus pound baby, and and my brother and my sister were both skinny, skinny, skinny. Same pantry, right? Because a lot of people say, "Oh, well, it's your parents, the way they fed you, they made you fat." Well, there's three siblings in the same household, same food, same pantry, same parents,
Yeah.
our entire lives. They were super skinny, and I wasn't. So I believe that I'm probably going to be on this for the rest of my life. I'm ready and I'm prepared for it. But if at some point, for some reason, I'm able to get off of it, save a couple of dollars, and not have to take it, sure. But more than likely, I'm going to be on it.
Nice. All right, next up we have from Losing It Grace, the protein queen herself. You describe GLP-1s as you're turning off the radio in your brain. Once the noise stopped, what emotions or thoughts were underneath it that you had been drowning out with food for years? That is an excellent question.
Yeah, and I've heard this come up, before. And there was a gentleman on YouTube, and he's become pretty famous now. He's been all over, doing interviews and stuff like that. That really speaks about this, where he's dove into people dealing with now, not having that comfort, right? The food comfort, or I know you're kind of asking like when the noise went away. Um, for me, and I've been fortunate enough that I'm more clear-minded. Um, I enjoy things that I've always wanted to enjoy more now. It's almost strange. Like I've talked about this before. I go to the gym now, and I almost don't want to leave. And I remember I would sit in the parking lot for an hour sometimes, trying to talk myself out of going into the gym, and then I would go in there and I would barely ever get my sets done, and I would leave. And now I'm done with the workout, and I'm like, oh, I'll do something for my stomach, or I'll get on the treadmill for another 10 minutes or something. And so I don't know if that's what happened when the food noise left, but I feel like I'm more clear. Um, my back pain has gone, so there's a lot of relief. Joint pain is gone for the most part. And so I feel a lot more free, mentally free, psychologically free. And I just do a lot more now. I get around more. I do more around the house with the wife, with the kids. I'm mobile all the time. I'm also trying to get the steps, right? I'm trying to move more. So I don't know of any emotions or trauma. And I did 4 years in OA. I did the 12 steps a couple of times. So I've dove into childhood traumas and stuff like that. And I honestly, I haven't had anything like that that I can speak of up to this point.
Thank you. All right, we got another super chat from my guy G's. He gets the DJ air horn. Congrats, Julio. I remember chatting with you at the beginning of your Zepbound journey, or maybe the beginning of you creating your YouTube content. Glad to see your progress. Another great live RMZ. Thank you, G's. Appreciate you, my Philly brother. All
Yes,
right.
geez, I really appreciate you, man. You definitely reached out, and I love how you're always there, man. Thank you so much for supporting my channel. I really appreciate it. And me.
All right. Let's see. I think next up was Cookie. Cookie wants to know, you said that you and your wife increased your calories. My question is, did you both track since you started, or are you still tracking?
Great question. I'm a numbers and data nerd. I love knowing, like, I want to know. I want to know every little thing. So, yes, I track the heck out of everything a little obsessively. But yeah, I have all the apps, the Apple Watch, the apps, everything. I'm tracking my food, calories, my macros, protein, all that. And the one thing that I got wrong, and I did a video on TDEE, the total daily energy expenditure. I did a video on that, and the one thing that I had gotten wrong that I had to fix, and you guys, well, people on my channel, called me out on it. A couple guys called me out on it, and my one of the trainers at the gym called me out on it. Is that my workouts expend more energy than I was accounting for. I was thinking that if you're not running like David Goggins, sweating and yelling and screaming and running 20 miles, that you're not really doing extreme exercise. And that's the way I always thought of exercise. Every time I wanted to lose weight in the past, I would always get on the treadmill and try to run for 30 minutes and get my heart rate up to 160, 170. When I work out at the gym with the weights, since I started working out again, my heart rate goes up for a couple of minutes, maybe to like 130, comes back down to the 120s or the teens. So I'm not breathing hard, I'm not sweating. So in my mind, I was thinking, well, I'm not expending that much energy. This is like a 200-300 calorie workout, and that's it. And it took some people calling me out and then researching that working out with weights, when you damage the muscle, the recovery of the muscle, you're burning more calories throughout the day in 2 to 3 days after your workouts. So I was actually burning way more calories than I thought, and that's why my TDEE needed to go up. And so I went from about 16 to 1800 calories what I was eating for the first half, and then when I found that information out, I upped it to I'm about between like 1800 and 2000 calories is where I'm at right now. Great question. But my wife and my sister, they don't track it as much. They track it a little bit, kind of light, not as intense as I do.
All right. All right. Let me get back to next up. We have my guy, John Henri. He wants to know, I'm going to ask the controversial question. While you were looking for affordability, did you ever consider other wink wink cheaper options or cheaper markets?
Great question. And yes, like I said, I'm a data guy. I want to know everything. I literally called every pharmacy around where I live, up to about 30 minutes away, and called everybody I know. I went on Facebook and put a Facebook post to all my friends and family. If you've been on GLP-1, and let me know, where do you go? How much do you pay? All that stuff. I had 30 people reply on my Facebook that I had no idea they were on GLP-1s, and they were all on GLP-1s. And I went to all the pharmacies, researched it, found out, what they were putting in them. I even spoke to a pharmacist one time. We spoke for like 2 hours. I was trying to get him to break it down for me, and the price came close to what I'm paying, but it wasn't far lower enough for me to make the jump for compounded. for retatrutide for the gray market, it's definitely cheaper. It's less expensive, substantially, like maybe $100 less. But I have that fear. I don't. I'm afraid of it. I got friends that are on retatrutide, and they have got phenomenal results. One of them's one of my son's friends, 19 years old, and he looks like a bodybuilder. And he was like me. He fought it since he was a little kid, and he looks incredible. But I was a police officer for 15 years, and I'm still very much like, if it's not, like I want the doctor to prescribe it. My doctor prescribes compounded, so that was definitely something that I was really considering. I'm still considering it. I'm not stuck by any means. Once retatrutide comes out, I'm sure it's going to be super expensive, so I'll probably wait until the prices go down. I don't know if I'll change. I'm happy where I'm at right now. Until this stops working, for me, it's one of those things. If it's not broken, don't fix it. So I'm probably not going to change until there's a reason. But I'm not against it. Like I said, I've got tons of friends. I'm thinking about doing videos with them. I'm gonna do videos with the guy that does retatrutide. I'm gonna do videos with my friends that do compounded, just to get it out there, and more exposure for more people. I rather somebody be on retatrutide because that's all they can afford, or tirzepatide from the gray market, than not on anything at all and suffering from this disease. But that's my take on it. Great
Thank you.
question.
Appreciate that answer. All right. Paula wants to know, are there any foods that you no longer care for since taking a GLP-1? Any new foods that you now really enjoy?
Great question. So I couldn't tell you the last time in my life that I ate an apple. I was not a big, even bananas, I wasn't very big on. And I eat an apple every single day. Every single evening around like 7 or 8 o'clock, I cut an apple, and it is the tastiest thing that I have put in my mouth. It feels like forever. It's like what cheesecake used to feel like. That's what an apple feels like in my mouth now. Sweet potatoes. I never would have eaten a sweet potato. I eat sweet potatoes every week. Um, and this is huge. When I did carnivore, I've always loved McDonald's. That's been one of my go-to, right? And when I did carnivore, I would eat the quarter pounder with cheese, patties with the cheese. I mean, that was like my go-to fast food when I was doing carnivore, when I couldn't, make a steak or whatever. So quarter pounders with cheese have been my double quarter pounders with cheese have been my game for a long time. I had one since I started on this medication, and I did finish it, but I probably will never eat a quarter pounder again. I, I was grossed out by it, and I just don't want it again, which is the weirdest thing. And really quick, I'm at my desk, my computer, my work desk, and I keep this on my desk. Uh, Sorry. So I keep this on my desk. This was Christmas present. I get one of these every year, and I got one this year again. Now this year I got the little box. Typically I get the big bag. And then this is from my trip to Puerto Rico, the flight home from Puerto Rico. And as you can see, the there's still have some in them.
Okay.
And I keep them on my desk for two reasons. One is it's a reminder for me that uh, this is an incredible time in my life, and I love to look at those boxes, those M&Ms. Peanut M&Ms was my sweet thing. I got movie theaters, flights, vacations, just going through the line at getting at a gas station, anywhere I would get some M&Ms, peanut M&Ms, and um, and I didn't finish those boxes, not because I couldn't, because I could eat that no problem. I didn't have the taste for it.
Yeah.
I ate a little bit. I was satiated by it. I enjoyed it, and that was it. So, fantastic question. Um, and another reason why I keep them on my desk, I have them like a food noise signaling device is the way, what I call it. If I ever look at those boxes and I'm like, ooh, maybe I'll have some, then I got to start thinking about maybe titrating up on
Yeah.
those.
All right. Not a question, but Robert says he's stopping by to say hi to his guy Julio. You helped him start on his journey. He's 6 weeks in and down 18 pounds. The medicine is changing many lives. Glad we're all supporting each other.
Thank you, Robert. Robert was one of the first people that came to my channel, and he had not started yet. And he reached out to me today, actually, earlier today, and he shared his experience. And when he talked to me last time, he hadn't started yet, and he was nervous to start. And I got nervous, and I told him this today. I'm like, I mean, I was a little freaked out because I was new to the channel. I was new on YouTube, and I'm like, what if I give bad advice? What if I mean, of course, I'm like, I'm not a doctor, and talk to your doctor, but still, I'm gonna tell you how I'm doing. And I was hoping, man, I was hopeful that he would have a good experience. So I loved hearing from you today, Robert. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it. Thank you for coming here and and saying your kind words, man. I really appreciate it. Don't ever, because he said to me that he didn't want to bother me. He felt like my channel was getting too big. I mean, don't ever think that. I don't care if I got 1 million subscribers. You always come and reach out to me, man. I'll chat with you. I'll chat with as many people. I mean, I know my wife's getting ready to divorce me because I'm now starting to really, it's getting to be a lot, but she understands, and I love it. I love talking to everybody.
Yeah.
Thanks, Robert.
And congrats, Robert, on the loss. That's really great.
Yeah.
3 pounds a week. All right. Another one from the Protein Queen. Grace, how do you balance gratitude for the medication while also wanting credit for the hard work you're putting in?
That's a
Should,
great,
should
great,
call
great
her the queen
question.
of questions too.
Yeah, no, that's a phenomenal question. Because this is also a big, huge topic. I mean, obviously, like I was saying earlier, and Charles was saying also, is that a lot of people feel um, like we're being told we're cheating, or being, it's you're taking the easy way out. And like I was explaining, and this is what I say to people when I speak to them when they feel that way. I let them know. I'm like, I do understand what you're saying, because it does seem like it is the easy way out. And I tell them, I'm like, and I look at it, I don't disagree with you, because it is so much easier for me to work out now, and to uh, go to jiu-jitsu, and to eat clean. It is a lot easier. The thing is that I'm eating and I'm working out and I'm pushing myself the same as you when I'm talking to them. I use this analogy. I say, okay, I'm 5'6". If me and Shaquille O'Neal, we both had to try our hardest to figure out how to dunk a basketball, who's going to work harder,
You?
right? It's going to take me years of intense physical activity and jump training and all that to maybe even get up to that basketball hoop and be able to dunk. Could I do it? Could I possibly do it? Sure. But it would take an immense amount of work for me to be able to achieve that. Shaq won't even have to get off his heels, and he'll put that ball inside that basket. So that's the way I look at people with food noise and people without food noise, or quote unquote normies, the way we used to call them in OA, right? They're the Shaquille O'Neals of food.
Yeah.
They're like, I don't want to drink Pepsi today. And that's it. That's it. That's the last thought they have about that Pepsi, that soda. When I would say, I can't drink that Pepsi today, my brain wouldn't stop telling me you're going to drink that Pepsi until I drank that Pepsi, whether it was a few hours later, a day later, a week later, a month later, of white knuckling. So that's what I say to people when I talk to them. I'm like, look, we're doing the same amount of work. It's just that now this medication helps me even the playing field. I'm 7 feet tall now. Now me and Shaq can just stand there and dunk the ball.
I love that. I love that. All right. Another question from the queen of questions. What does success look like for you beyond reaching 170 pounds?
That's the unknown for me, right? I don't know. I don't know what maintenance is going to look like for me. I hope is as smooth as things have gone so far on this journey, and that's part of why I started the channel when I started. Like I thought about starting the channel once I had reached my maintenance, my goal weight, for a million reasons, and one of the biggest reasons was to be able to share knowledge, to be able to help people, um, that haven't, they're starting out and up to the point of maintenance and being able to have all that knowledge of all those months and all that time and getting to maintenance and understanding it. And then I decided, you know what? I need to help day one from somebody who had done it for 3 days. It's like there's always a time where you can help somebody else, and that's where I'm at right now. At 6 months, um, helping friends and family and the YouTube community, um, with with their process. Obviously, I'm not helping those that are beyond me. They're helping me. Charles is helping me, and Barb. Is helping me, and all these goats of the GOP1 community that have been doing it for a long time. So I don't know. Great question. I'm hoping it's a smooth transition, to whatever it is. I've thought about it. I have friends, some of those friends that we would go out to dinner that had been on the medication for a year and I had no idea. They're at a point where they're doing it. They're the type that because everybody's doing it differently, right? And some people, and they're doing it, like every 2 weeks or whenever they start feeling the food noise, they'll take the injection, kind of like just feeling it out. That's how they do it. I don't know if I'll do that. I've heard some people do that and they don't like it, that they get the food noise and it's scary. So I don't know. I don't know how it's going to be. But I'm excited. And, like I said about the Marine Corps ball is November 10th, 2026. And I'm actually looking at the Marine Corps blues that I took out of the closet yesterday. And I'm hoping to visit the Marine Corps ball this year at 170 pounds. So I should be hitting it around October if I continue in this same trajectory that I'm going.
Nice. All right. Final question. As a content creator, how do you protect your mental health while being vulnerable on the internet about something so personal?
Uh, I, for me, I welcome. Like I had a guy. I had, if somebody curses on, I had somebody curse the other day. I blocked or deleted the the comment. I won't entertain those. But if you come on my channel and you're like, I um I think you're crazy and this is bad for you and whatnot, I'm like, talk to me. Talk to me. I want to know. I want to know how you feel about this because I want to engage with anybody and everybody. Like I said, before, I believe, I think about my son. My son's 19 years old. My stepdaughter doesn't have my genes, but my son does. And so far, he's done well. We had a little bit of a speed bump when he was around 7, 8 years old, and we were able to get through that. And he's very healthy now, works out and eats, tracks his food and all that good stuff. And we do it, together. We have fun doing that. on the apps, we're like, hey, how much is that? How many calories did you get for that? So it's fun. But getting back to your question, I welcome it. I had a guy the other day or a few weeks ago. He's like, "Oh, you're getting lizard venom in you. You're injecting lizard venom in you." So and I could just be like, "You're crazy. You don't know what the heck you're talking about." And just be done with it. But no, I welcome it. I want to talk about the lizard venom. I want to talk. I'm actually having a shirt made that I love lizard venom because I'm having fun with it. To really be honest with your question, like I don't feel anything negative from it, so far, knock on wood. I hope not. I love helping the helping others, and maybe that's the cop in me. When I was a police officer, I really loved helping people, going to their living rooms and helping them figure out some trauma that they were going through. And now I feel the same. Like I'm in real estate. I'm a real estate broker, and I love helping people purchase their homes or sell their homes when they're afraid and scared, and they don't know what the future is going to bring and what's going to happen. And I love working with them. So maybe it's part of my personality. And in this process, like Robert, and so many people, I'll forget names, but so many people, everybody, even those that are not helping, that are helping me, in Overeaters Anonymous or in Alcoholics Anonymous, there's the there's um, the story in AA when was it Dr. Bob, I think, or one of the doctors, or Bill, that walked into the room to help the doctor, and the doctor was like, "What are you gonna do for me? Nobody has been able to do for my alcoholism." And he says, "I'm not here for you, man. I'm here for me. It's to keep myself sober." And that's what AA is. You
Yeah.
go, or OA, or any of those, is you go there to help yourself in a sense. So I feel like for me, it's therapeutic, very therapeutic. Even the negative stuff for me it helps me think, it helps me stay focused. And so I welcome it so far, and if it changes, I will put it on my channel, because that's one thing I'm definitely going to do is the good, the bad, and the ugly. I'm going to talk about everything on my channel. I'm not going to hide, those feelings of anger or depression or anything like that. If I'm feeling down, I'm going to tell you about it. So I'll definitely share it. But so far, it's been therapeutic.
Love it. Well, thank you for joining us tonight, Julio. Been a great conversation. I really enjoyed chatting with you. Now, I am back next week with my guy, LaBoy. LaBoy and I started the journey at the same time, around the same time in 2024. Um, and he had stopped for a while and he's restarted. So I wanted to bring him on and tell his story. So he'll be here next Tuesday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. If you want to follow Julio, his channel is linked in the description of this video. Also, a little birdie told me that he will be filming with Barb this Friday. We're chatting apart, and you'll be able to find that at some point. I'm not sure if Barb's still with us tonight. She was on earlier, but she was Health at Any Cost, but now she's rebranded to the Metabolic Midwife. So follow her channel, follow Julio's channel, and I look forward to their discussion. Again, Julio, thank you. Chat, thank you for joining us and engaging tonight. Appreciate you all. See you next week. Have a great one. As I close, I want to leave you with 3 important reminders. First up, prostate cancer screening. Screening no longer requires a digital rectal exam for those of you that are scared of that. It's a simple blood test typically covered by insurance. For most men, screening should begin at age 50. If you're a Black man or have a family history, such as a father or a brother that has had prostate cancer, screening should begin at the age of 45. However, if you're a Black man with a family history, you should consider starting screening at the age of 40. Black men are about 80% more likely to develop prostate cancer and twice as likely to die from it, largely because it's often detected too late after it has spread. Early detection is critical. Prostate cancer often has no symptoms until it's advanced. I had no symptoms for mine, and thankfully they caught it before it spread. Second up, colorectal cancer screening. Colorectal cancer is affecting younger and younger people. Early detection saves lives. There is approximately one diagnosis every 25 minutes in people under 50. It is now the leading cause of cancer death for men under 50 and one of the leading causes overall in their age group. Among the top 5 cancer related deaths, it's the only one increasing in younger adults. Men are more likely to be diagnosed at a younger age and more likely to die from it. Approximately 75% of patients under 50 are diagnosed with advanced stage cancer. That's either stage 3 or stage 4. Think of celebrities like Chadwick Boseman and James Vanderbeek, both under 50 when diagnosed and when they died. Screening reduces mortality by up to 60%. Colon cancer is one of the most preventable cancers, but only if you get screened. Lastly, get your testosterone levels checked. As the experts in this space say, there is no single better indicator of a man's overall health than his testosterone levels. Make sure the test includes your total testosterone, your free and bioavailable testosterone, because at the end of the day, that is more important than your total number. Also includes your SHBG levels, your LH levels, your FSH levels, and your estradiol levels. Gentlemen, take your health seriously. No one is coming to save us. We have to show up for ourselves and for each other because we are our brother's keeper. And remember, iron sharpens iron.